You alive? Mashed predators? Man, this is one hell of an engine that Rare put together. Potato. I think the camera might be leaning a little bit. I'm sitting straight up right now, and it looks like I'm crazy. Welcome, viewer. Should probably fix that cam, but I'm sitting down now, and I don't feel like standing up. This is the testing phase of my stream. I'm not actually playing yet. I'm just making sure it's going to work. It's working so far, which is excellent. Hey, I got a second viewer. Welcome, viewer number 2. Stream is actually working so well. I think I'm going to go ahead and push forward. Hey, I'm Many45 and Tiny Goliath have joined us. Many45 says, I'm Batman. Many45 says, also, hi, Mr. Pie. Is that... And then he says, I beat you, and then he did a bunch of haws in a descending triangle. And Tiny Goliath says, well, this... Wait a minute. Gotta scroll back up. Says, well, this sucks. Hi, Jeremy. Why does it suck? Oh, Tiny Goliath says, God, fuck you, interweb slowdowns. You having internet connection problems? Because I feel that. Know exactly what that's like. Hey, got a third viewer. Welcome, viewer number 3. I'm not actually playing yet. In fact, I haven't even started the pre-show yet, so this is some kind of record. 3 viewers before the pre-show even starts. I am sending out the notification now. Money45 says, I came when the stream was only a minute long. I was so late. Yeah, usually you get here before I do. Okay, so that's the notification message out to my texting friends. Now to send it out to my twitting friends. Had the tweet gone out. So, ladies and gents, we are officially in the pre-show now. We have 5 minutes until I start playing. Until then, we can hang around and give people some time to get to a computer or turn on their phone or something. And while we're waiting, we can chat about stuff. Technical Life says, my internet's acting weird on my tablet the last few days. Did you give it a nice happy reboot? Because it's amazing the number of weird problems that a reboot can fix in technology. Or, you know, maybe toggle your Wi-Fi off and back on. Many45 says, I was watching another stream of some guy at McDonald's. Don't ask. Well, I'm asking. What was it? Did some guy Did he like have his phone out and he hit the live stream turn on thing and he didn't know he did it? Because I'm sure that's happened at least to someone before. And Keelogoth has joined us. He says, "Hi, his first viewer, all right." And Keelogoth says, "Number 1 fan is me." Keelogoth is assuming fan superiority. Are you going to stand for that, Oddman 845? Holy crap. Tiny Glad says, "I shouldn't be on, actually. I've been on my computer for like 10 hours. That's a record. I generally can't stand to do the same thing for more than like an hour or so before ADD or something kicks in. Man 45 is indeed taking up arms. He says, "No, you light boy. Even friggin' Tiny beat you." You know, I was watching a stream last night where somebody said boy like that, spelled like that in the chat, and somebody else reacted to it and they're like, "That's racist." And they weren't even joking. They were like genuinely offended. And then it became a sort of big fight in that chat to the point where the streamer turned on emotes only mode for 2 minutes just to force people to shut up for a while. Which I don't blame her. That's a good way to handle that kind of stuff. Apparently, Keelogoth took a brief interlude to go eat pizza. Why didn't you eat it at your computer? Get a nice thick layer of crumbs along the inside of your keyboard keys. It helps weight down the keyboard and then it moves less. And Jay has joined us. Jay says, "Pupe." Jay, you know just what to say to get to my heart. And I think that might be the pre-show expired. Allow me to remind myself for when I sent out the tweet. And literally, Boogie2988 just started his stream. Apparently, I sent out the tweet at 10:32 p.m. It's now 10:36. So we're going to say about a minute left of the pre-show. Many45 says, "Also, I'm sad I can't play any video games. Thumb plus glass equals no video games." You know, you keep saying don't ask like that, and I'm just going to ask. So I'm guessing you were holding a glass and it blew up in your hand. You didn't by chance happen to seal the top of it with some Mentos and Diet Coke inside, did you? Oh, Many45 says, "Nope, glass door." Holy crap. Did you punch it? Because that would mean that you wouldn't be the only person in the chat right now that got mad and punched something and hurt their hand. Of course, I think we've all done that to some degree. After all, where else is the video game rage going to go but misdirected at something that's undeserving? My name 45 says, "No, I pushed it a little." And it blew up. That's one weak-ass glass door. Anyway, it's time to start. So, how about a crossfade? I'm going to wait until it goes to the next title screen logo, and then I'll start recording and playing. Gilligan says, is there ever a situation where these characters play instruments besides the silly intro? You know, now that you mention it, I don't think so. And hello, fellow gamers. I am back yet again playing more Banjo-Kazooie. The last time, I finished off Gobi's Valley, finally. And this time I'm going to finish off Free's Easy Peak, which I barely did. Just played it long enough to get the move that I needed to finish off Gobi's Valley. And Gevorg Marashlian has joined us just in time. Finally going to play your favorite level. I don't think you really need to use the Talon Trot to get up that slope, but it's a little faster. Oh, I could have used the pot, couldn't I? I'm taking the long way. Man45 says, Jeremy, you have to say welcome back, guys. It's Jeremy back at in again in the white vans. Eh? I've still been messing with my audio setup. I'm now using 2 mixers because my setup wasn't complicated enough. But because of that, because I've disrupted the balance a little bit so that I could add some new features, I'm of course always worried that I don't quite have the volume levels right. All the meters say that I have the levels right. But I always wonder. Oh, get up there. Oh, get up there, damn it. I want the red feathers. Oh, I'm full anyway. Well, fuck. You mother fuckface. Man45 says, Jeremy, how do you spell your name? You just spelled it. I'll find out if I still have to get those presents. I shouldn't have to. I don't see it though, so... Oh well. It's not like it was hard to get the one that I got before. And I'll have to go into that area anyway because there's jiggies afoot. I'm seriously low on gold feathers. Yeah. Gilgas says that I spell it Jeremadadoodle. Maybe that's how Ned Flanders spells it, perhaps. Is there anything hidden behind these crystals? No. Sometimes, even though they're transparent like this, they'll still use the optical illusion against you. And again, usually, like I'm looking up against this wall right here, that's because that's where the camera is, and that would also be a place to hide things. Boggy. He's still bloated. Stomach aches. I shouldn't have eaten that shiny thing. Someone help poor Boggy. Oh, looks like we've been joined by a couple of new people in the chat. Madman401, welcome, says, have you had this game since it came out? No, I got it a couple years after it came out, but this is the same copy that I've owned since then, and I bought it brand new. But I have indeed played quite a bit of this game in my time. Ah, missed. I don't think this actually does anything anyway, but... That's my version of Pepto-Bismol. And we've also been joined by John Cena. John Cena says, Banjo-Kazooie. I think you need to ease up on the caffeine, dude. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to do is get rid of all these Sir Slushes that are around here. Because their auto-aiming really chaps my ass. Which is impressive considering how cold it is in this level. For something to, you know, chap one's ass even further. Oh shit, missed. But I didn't... I somehow bounced off of the water, but didn't actually touch it, so I stayed flying. Shit. You fucknut. Damn! Just can't hit that one. I think there's another flying disc up on top of one of these houses, though. There we go. Yeah, see, those Sir Slushes can still hit you while you're in the air, so it is good to still kind of be swerving around. That one had a present under its butt. Excellent. I think that might be all of them. Oh, sweet. You get a Jiggy for doing that anyway. Okay. What's going on in yon chat? Jay says I was lucky to get this game new. He says he got his used. That's surprising to me, Jay. Considering you're like 10 times as into this game series as I am, and I'm still pretty into it. I think it's time to hit eBay and look for one that's still shrink-wrapped. John Cena is still having a stroke. He says, Banjo-Kazooie 64 Wii U Deluxe Collector's Edition is the greatest game for the Sega Genesis. You forgot... What the fuck? Something fell behind me. But, John Cena, I think you forgot a couple of systems in there at least. You didn't use the words Commodore or Master System or 3DO or... Yeah, that's a good first start, though. I think with additional training you could extend that acronym and be more inclusive. Jay says I have the original manual but no box. And Madman401 says, do you have any plans of playing Super Mario 64? Maybe. I actually have a lot of games in progress on my channel right now. Maybe like a half a dozen or so, which is more than I'm comfortable having. Because there's a lot of games that I'd still like to play on my channel, but I don't want to start too many projects, you know? So I'm trying to finish off some of the games that I've started before I start any more. And this is, of course, one of them. Okay, time to make a vain attempt at saving the Twinklies, I think. How do you do this? There we go. We're the Twinklies. Protect us from the Twinkly Munchers as we hop across to our tree. If enough of us get there, we can light the tree for you. Okay, so how this works is basically you see what I'm not supposed to do. Apparently you cannot kill them by rolling into them. I've learned something. You fuck nut. I think this is actually going to work out fine, because I don't need very many. I've still got plenty of time left. The only ones that are getting eaten are the ones that just happen to be right on top of the hole whenever dude pops up. Then I screwed up the cycle. Die, damn it. Oh, come on. That last one is going to dick around getting in there. Fuck! Son of a bitch. Fuckers. Fortunately, you don't, like, die or anything. You just get to try again. Tormore's joined us. Tormore says, did I miss that much? Not really. I did kind of get a late start. And then I took the long way getting up to the level, so I basically just started. Gevorg Mirashlane says that Sir Slush has a honeycomb. Yeah, I saw one of them at a present, too. And I remember you telling me one of them had a layer switch under it, so I'll go around and collect all that stuff as I go. Mayman401 says, I got this game with its plastic box, and I have it on the Xbox One with Rare Replay. Plastic box? You mean, maybe you got it from a video rental store? In one of their protective cases? John Cena says, 3DO was the best Nintendo console, honestly. Yeah, I'd say the main thing that sunk Nintendo's 3DO console was no Mario. Drummer says Grant Kirkhope was interviewed by a guy named Jeff Rubin on a podcast called The Jeff Rubin Show, creative name. It was from March 28th, if anyone is interested. I actually would be interested. Because I know that Grant Kirkhope, raw and uncut, so to speak, he's actually pretty profane. He's a pretty angry dude. And yet he makes all these cutesy, pretty melodies for games like this. Dormer says, I assume Jay and Jeremy know who that is and may find it interesting. I haven't listened to it yet. John Cena says, have you ever played Rayman 2 The Great Escape? I have indeed. In fact, I have it. Box is up somewhere on my wall right there. A good game. It was certainly one of the better third-party 3D platformers on the N64. I even got kind of far into it. Not on my channel. I haven't played it on my channel, but playing it personally, I got kind of far into it. And we've been rejoined by SJ Rathman812. Welcome. Says, I used the eggs last time I did these guys. That's true. You could do it that way. You could just kind of park yourself right here, like in the middle, and just kind of move back and forth and just kind of shoot them like that. S.J. Rathman 812 also says, I used to use the Beak Buster with this one. The peck move works a lot better. I think it is. I think it's faster and it's easier to hit them with because they're already kind of tall, so you'd number one have to clear them with your jump and then do that, and recovering from that bounce I would think takes a little bit longer than recovering from this. And Jay says, Twinkly Munchers, classic rare. Yeah, whenever they said that, I was like, Madman401 says, hey man, love the stream, but I gotta go. Keep it up, and I'll watch you tomorrow. See you, Jeremy. Thank you, Madman401, for tuning in while you could. You can watch the recording of this on my channel later when I upload it. And Upman845 is chipping in for me. He says, next stream will be Wednesday at 10 Central Standard Time. Oh, SJ Rathman812 says, I just stood on the board and just kept shooting them. That way I didn't have to aim. So you stood like right here and just aimed straight down the way. Or no, you stood over here. Because I was wondering how could the Twinklies get past you, or do they just clip right through you? But yeah, that's another way to do it. How many eggs do I have? I'm fully stocked on eggs, so I think I'll try that. Please try harder this time. I need to get closer. No! What are you doing? I was holding down the button and he's running anyway. Actually using eggs too fast doing this. But the Twinkly Munchers don't die from just one egg. I'm not sure that this is much better. I mean, it's definitely easier. I mean, I'm pushing the egg firing button at a regular rate, but the game is... It's not firing the eggs at the same rate that I'm pushing the button. They're like getting backed up. Oh man, that sucked. Oh, Esther Rasman 812 says that he stood in front of the present box. So he stood over here and faced down this way and just kept shooting. John Cena says, are you doing this 100%? Yes, I am. I will do as many parts as it takes to get this game done. Not necessarily done quick, but done 100%. And Jormore says, Jeremy, I'm out for the night. Catch you next time. Later, everyone. Thank you, Jormore, for tuning in. I think if I use my original method and I don't fuck it up like I did the first time, then it'll actually work. No, David. I think I done did it. Sweet. Hell of a lot better that time. Close, but we made it. Now switch us on. I bet I have to do while flying and hit them with the switch with the beak bomb. Yeah, SJ Rathman 812 has confirmed. He says, I think the egg tactic works better if you stand in front of the present box instead of the tree. That and when I started, I wasn't aimed very well, so I was shooting eggs off to the side here. And so like I was still hitting the one right here, but I was at the wrong angle, so I was missing the ones that were further away. Then of course I ran out of eggs because I was using too many. John Cena says, he asked before, are you doing this 100%, and says, what about stop and swap? No, because you can't. And those do not count, those items don't count towards percentage on the individual files. Now I have unlocked and gotten those items on my first save file on this game, and since doing that unlocks them on all of your files, even brand new ones, even if you delete all of the files and make completely new files, those items are still unlocked. So technically they are still collected right now from my first file. Yeah. Aman45 says, I'm still waiting for E.T. for the Switch, or just a sequel to E.T. for the Atari. No, I think they learned their lesson the first time around. Oh, that was dumb. There's the layer switch. And that's indeed how you open that. Just like Mr. Gevorg Marashlian told me. John Cena says, what game are you playing next? I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to be playing until mere seconds before starting the stream. Sometimes I just kind of look at my wall of NES games and pull something off as fast as I can. But I can tell you that Wednesday will probably be a different game than this because I've played this game for several streams in a row now. And I try to change it up. Like, I don't play exclusively one game until I beat it. I'll maybe go back to another one of the games that I have in progress, or I'll do a one-off game where I do it just one game for that stream. I try to add some variety to it so that the people that may not be watching right now because they don't like this game, then they may be interested in what I play the next time. I think you get something for flying through the star here, too. Maybe not. Maybe the game doesn't think that I actually flew through it. Wait a minute, I wasn't really paying attention to the cutscene. Oh, there it is. I was going to say I wasn't really paying attention to the cutscene whenever the switch appeared for turning on the tree. And I didn't actually remember whether the switch was up in the air or not. But no, it's not. It's down near the ground. So while I'm up here, I'm going to hit all the buttons on the front of this snowman. Shit. Let's back up a bit so I can get better aim. Yummy. Oh, the snowman crapped out a Jiggy. It's going to be nasty getting this Jiggy. It's got snowman shit all over it. otherwise known as water. SJ Rathman 812 says, when I'm walking on the snow, I prefer using the Talon Trot. That way I'm not sliding around. That's a good point, yeah. Most of the time I'm just too lazy to turn on the Talon Trot. That's the only reason I'm not using it. Which I know is a special level of lazy. I'm working hard on honing my laziness skills. Well, I would be, you know, if I wasn't so lazy. I'll do it tomorrow. There's a switch. I think I can just hit it with an egg. But I bet I'm still out of eggs, aren't I? Yes, I am. Fine, I'll do it this way. Come on. You can't hit it that way, son of a bitch. And I know there's eggs down there in the water, but that water's freezing. I could turn on an invisibility feather to get those, but I have very few of those, so I guess I'm just gonna wander around until I get some eggs. I could go up inside the tree, but I don't remember or not if you should have the tree turned on in order to get something inside the tree at the top, so I'm gonna wait on that. Oh, there's Momo Token. See, isn't this nice? Taking out all those Sir Slashes immediately at the beginning. You're free to wander around at your leisure. Instead of constantly worrying that you're going to get smacked in the head with a snowball. I think for this right here you do have to have the Talon Trot to get up. Maybe. Oh, there's Waza. Can you see what he's got in his flipper there? You fucker. If you get close to him, he runs off. Nasty fierce bear, bro. You wuss. John Cena says, what about Gex 3? I have fond memories of that game. What system is Gex 3 on? Is that on N64 too? Because I know there is, there's Gex 64, I think, and then there's also Gex Enter the Gecko. And I don't know if there's an actual Gex 3 or if one of those two is technically Gex 3. I do have the first Gex on both PlayStation and I think I have it on 3DO as well. I haven't played them on my channel, but when I played them personally, I certainly enjoyed them. It's a nice different kind of 2D platformer. And we've been joined by Samuel Pro 744 who says, hello, welcome to the stream and the chat. Jay says, between this game and GoldenEye, I think Rare was single-handedly responsible for selling Game Sharks. Probably. Samuel Pro 744 says, good game, you're an expert on this game. I'd like to think so, but thank you. And SJ Rathman 812 also says you can use the R button to make tight turns in case you didn't know. To make tight turns? Because I know you position the camera like that. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, it's holding the R button in combination with moving the stick. Yeah, that does work. Oh, he also says that is when you're flying. That I didn't know. Samuel Pro 744 says, please saludame. You mean welcome you? I think that's what that means, saludame. Welcome me. I know some Spanish. Georg Marashline says, sorry, man, but I'm going to have to miss the stream again. I have to go to family member's house. Great stream as always. Don't forget about the honeycomb and Mumbo's Mountain above the spinning statues. Yes, that's a good point. I do need to go back and get that. But thank you for watching while you could. He also says, also don't forget to break the ice cube in Bubble Gloop Swamp to unlock the Cheeto book. Oh yeah, that, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's actually, that was the same room where you fill in the Jiggy painting. Puzzle. Puzzle. When you fill in the Jiggy puzzle to unlock this level. Yeah. John Cena says, vote Mumbo Jumbo for President 2024. And he also says Gex 3 is for N64, yes. Okay. He says, and Gex Enter the Gecko, I think, was what it was called. Okay. That's what I thought. Many45 says, Jeremy, I found the best racing game ever, Ridge Racer. I'll have to take your word for it because I don't play a lot of racing games because I suck at them. And Jay says, using the R button to make tight turns also works while swimming. That's actually a good tip because the swimming is kind of wonky in this. Because the camera becomes much more fixed while you're underwater. And that's actually in a way, it's to try and help you to make it less wonky. But in the ways that it helps, it also detracts in others. But to Rare's credit, it is still pretty good swimming. I've certainly seen worse swimming in video games before, and in defense of all video game developers, it's hard to do good swimming. In Banjo-Tooie, they helped out a lot whenever they gave you the abilities to go into first-person perspective, both while you're flying and while you're swimming. And once you can do that, it becomes a hell of a lot easier. I don't know exactly where I'm going here. Oh yeah, I just remembered something. The transformation in this level allows you to go into the cold water without getting hurt. I'll be able to get all those eggs and get that Mumbo token down there. Damn ice cube. Okay, so I could go up the snowman scarf, which goes way the fuck all the way at the top. Or I can continue to do that. Now let's go up. Why not? I'm just going to do it eventually anyway. And on every one of these, the coloring you see, on the yellow ones they have notes, and the red ones have red feathers. And it's that way all the way up. And you'd think this would be slippery, but it's actually not. No part of this scarf is actually slippery at all. Even this part, you can just walk straight up it. There's a Jinjo over there. Okay, now I get to figure out if I can make a jump over there. I think I can make that. Turn on the Talon Trot just in case this is slippery. I don't want to slide off of it. Yeah, there's the sled. That's how you pop the thing out of Boggy. You sled all the way back to the bottom and you land on him with it. Careful. Mini45 says, okay, although I only know 2 people who know what Ridge Racer is. I do know what Ridge Racer is. In fact, I think it got its start on, what was it first on? I want to say either the 3DO or the PlayStation. But I don't think it was the PlayStation. I thought it was something that was more obscure than that. I could be thinking of a different racing game, though. Maybe I'm thinking of Road Rash. I think I'm thinking of Road Rash. I think I'm thinking. And in order to generate that thought, I had to think that I was thinking something. Can we do someone's side? Let's poke out the snowman's eyes. Yeah, doesn't do anything. It's fun though. And yes, I am going to do the sled. I haven't forgotten about that, but I'm going to do everything that I can while I'm up here, so I don't have to come all the way back up again. And this hole right here is specifically so that you can easily fall back through. Fucker. That was a big one. There goes the honeycomb. Honeycomb's like, fuck you. I'm getting out of here. Whoa. That's close. John Cena says, I think Banjo-Kazooie, although it was a graphical enhancement, was slightly a bit too big. I don't know, I thought it was pretty good sized. DK64 was really big though. Actually, now that I think about it, how would the size of those two games compare? I feel like Banjo-Kazooie was smaller than DK64, but not to its detriment. I think DK64 might have actually been too big. It certainly had too many things to collect, put it that way, even though I did get everything in that game once upon a time. Okay, there we go. And we've been joined by another new person in the chat. Think new person. Julio Meza. Welcome, Julio. Julio Meza says, I missed the last 2 live streams. Glad I made this one. I'm glad you made it too. The more the merrier. I wasn't paying attention. Where did Jiggy go? Or did he take it with him? Oh, there it is. John Cena says, Game Theory is Banjo-Kazooie Crash Bandicoot's big brother. I don't think so. Because, you know, one's a bandicoot, one's a bear, and I'm not sure bandicoots are actually a thing that really exists. I mean, not that we should be concerning ourselves too much with reality here. I mean, I am playing as a bear that plays a banjo and has a bird on his back. It's a lot of bees. And John C. says, this game's music, I swear to God, can hypnotize. They're that good. This game definitely has good music in it. Whenever I first heard the music in this game, I didn't really understand the style of it. I wasn't really into it that much. But the more I listened to it, the more I started to hear. And I think, as I said on a previous live stream, the music in this game is a lot like Koji Kondo's music in that it is deceptively simple. whenever you first listen to it, it sounds a lot simpler than it actually is, and you may even write it off. But the more you listen for, the more you're going to hear in it. And especially in this game with all of its dynamic soundtrack. You know, wherever you go on the level, the music will change as you go. That adds a lot to it too. In fact, sometimes I wonder if by the time Grant Kirkhope got done writing all the variations of music for a particular level, if he was just sick to death of that song and never wanted to hear it again. Get up there. Get up there. So I guess I gotta get to the top of the tree or something fast. I wasn't paying attention for what that timer was for. Oh, shit. Shit, shit, shit. Ow. No, get the present while I'm face planting. I like that you can see the lights on the outside of the tree from in here. Just more of those little tiny details that they didn't really have to put in, but they did. And I like that. Fuck. Kind of getting fucked by the camera in here. How about I do it like this? Just go towards it. Okay, that's apparently not what you're supposed to do. You know what? I think I do know what I was supposed to do. If I'd actually, you know, read the thing that happened whenever I hit the switch, I bet it told me to go fly through the star on top of the tree. Because I did notice as soon as I came in here that the timer disappeared, which implies that the timer doesn't apply once you're inside the tree. And I was wondering why it gave me 60 seconds just to get around to the front of the tree and get inside it. It sounded kind of dirty. SJ Rathman 812 says, my brother said he thinks this game has an excellent soundtrack. I've always enjoyed it myself. He said if you'll notice, each track lasts for a long time. It doesn't just loop one bit constantly. Indeed. In fact, Rare, through their entire history of games, like ever, they've always had really awesome music and very long tracks in each game, too. I think one of the tracks in Donkey Kong Country 2 is like 3 minutes long or something like that, which is unprecedented for something on the Super NES with the memory constraints that it has. SJ Rathman 812 says there's videos on YouTube about the Banjo-Kazooie series. It's sort of a documentary that shows the original creatures talking about it. That could be fun. Jay makes a good point. He thinks about DK64. He says, I think having to run around each level 5 different times as each Kong made it feel bigger. Yeah. I'm wondering if all the collecting might have been a little bit of artificial game lengthening. John Cena says, Game Theory is Yogi Bear Banjo's father. Don't think so. Yogi Bear, to my knowledge, has no musical inclinations. And Banjo has no picnic basket inclinations. Esther Rathman says that the videos he was mentioning before, he says, I think it was called Behind Rare. And it says the original creators are in the documentary. I remember them coming out with that, actually. I think it was a series that they made before Rare Replay came out, I think. They were trying to kind of hype that and get people interested in Rare again. John Cena says, bandicoots do in fact exist as I have seen them before. I think the reason people don't think they are real is because they are pretty obscure animals. I can't tell if you're trolling or not, but since I don't know everything yet, I will choose to tentatively believe you. Gevorg Marashlian has rejoined us. Welcome back. And Esther Rathman 812 says, no, the series was called Rare Revealed. That's right. Gevorg Marashlian says, how are we doing? Where are we so far? I think I've done about a third to half of this level so far. Esther Rathman 812 says, anyway, that in the Rare Revealed things, they said they worked hard on the music because they said back then it had to be good. It couldn't just be rinky-dink. Yeah, because you didn't have a lot of resources to work with. So in order to get something that sounded really good and, actually improved the gameplay experience instead of just sat around in the background and did almost nothing, which is what most developers did, unfortunately, they had to get creative and work within those constraints. In fact, I would say the constraints of a lot of the previous gaming systems from back in those days did inspire a hell of a lot of creativity for developers. Because I know that for me, whenever I think about making something myself, I'm at the point where the tools that I use and the platform that I develop for, there's not a whole lot of constraints, and so it feels like I can do anything. And while you would think that that would be very liberating, which it is, it's also kind of overwhelming, because if you have the ability to make anything, then you don't know what to make. Whereas if someone sets a boundary on you, such as the hardware constraints, then that gives you like a wall to overcome. Oh shit. Hit the wrong button and flew too high. Oh fuck, how many times do I have to do this? Is it like 3? This is where first-person perspective would really help. Sweet. And Gevorg Marashlian confirmed earlier in the chat, he says, you have to fly in the star 3 times. That's usually the way it is in games like this. It's a multiple of 3. Like you do something like that 3 times, or you hit a boss character 6 times to kill him, something like that. I bet I can just climb all the way to the top without any weird jumping to try and get up there. Or maybe I do have to do some weird jumping. There we go. And we've been joined by another new person in the chat. Welcome, it is Fan Life. Fan Life says the music in it is amazing in this game. Indeed it is. In fact, we were just talking about it before you got here. How I was saying that it's to the casual ear, it may seem like it's really simple and that there's not a whole lot to it. But for people that give it some time and actually really listen to what's going on, there actually is a lot going on. And the melodies, especially in this game, are typically simple-ish and very catchy. And that's kind of the core of most good songs. John Cena says, I feel Super Nintendo games had catchy beats. Definitely anything from Nintendo are rare. I'd wholeheartedly agree. Although I do like the FM synth sound of the Genesis. There's just something classic about that, and that probably harkens back to my days playing old PC games, because a lot of those used the old FM synth, which started on the ad-lib, and later the Sound Blaster became ad-lib compatible. And then of course the Genesis uses a variant of that same FM synthesis chip. It was one of those really common commodity chips back then that was used in a lot of different machines, PCs and computers in general, and video game consoles in general. And widely cloned as well. But there's something about that FM synth that's just really funky. I like it. I wonder if I'm just going to slide down this. Yep. Okay. That's what I wanted to do anyway. Going down and hill. Okay. There's Mumbo. I'm gonna do these houses here and then go transform and do some more stuff. And yes, I know there's also a second path that I'm pointed at right there. The level entrance is actually that path right there, and I have not been up there yet. And I think that has to do with the sledding race, which is really friggin' hard, which I will do. Julio Meza says, I don't know anyone who doesn't, to some degree, like the SNES Donkey Kong theme. Which is, if you're talking about Donkey Kong Country, it's funny because for the longest time I didn't realize that the title screen music for Donkey Kong Country, the guitar in it, and even the little cranky record player thing that Cranky plays at the beginning of it, that's actually a remix of the intro jingle from the original Donkey Kong. Could be just because I was incredibly unobservant all that time, which is distinctly possible. I know Jay, who is in the chat right now, who is much more musically inclined than I am. He probably noticed that immediately. Okay. Go transform. Man45 says, dude, the Doom theme was great. Yes, it was. Doom has awesome music, too. And I think, actually, the Doom music remixes, as far as the official Doom releases go, I think the Super NES and the 3DO had the best music. Had the best sounding Doom music. That's not to say that it didn't sound great on the other platforms as well. You know, I could have flown over here and probably been fine. Julio Meza says, I've never played Doom. You should play Doom, dude. Classic game. I'm sure there's probably even a browser version of it that you can play for free. Just Google it. You wouldn't even have to download anything. It's one of the most widely ported games ever. Man45 says I might get Doom 64. I keep looking for Doom 64 as well, but it seems like every time I find a copy of it, I never have the money to buy it. And Lucas Waters has joined us. Again, welcome. He says, I just got the Addams Family for the SNES. I'm sorry. No, the SNES version of that game is actually much better than the NES version. It has much better controls in particular. And FanLife says, what do you guys think of Banjo-Tooie? I think it's an improvement on Banjo-Kazooie in every way except for frame rate. Although it did seem kind of weird to me that, I'm not sure why I'm trying to get up there. It did seem kind of weird to me in Banjo-Tooie that instead of having the individual notes placed all over the levels like they are in this game, there are instead bunches of notes, which I think there's like 5 in each bunch. That might have been to make it simpler for level design purposes. That might have been to improve frame rate. It might have been to address the complaints that people had that there was too much collecting in Donkey Kong 64, which came out before Banjo-Tooie. So that part did seem weird to me at first, but not to the game's detriment. I'm still missing the Jinjo somewhere. Anything back here? Nope. Wonder if one of the Jinjos is in the water. Julio Mesa says, I just bought a new N64. Excellent. Now to fill it up with games. Well, one at a time. Banjo got all fat, got big teeth, you fucker. Turned me into something and make fun of me. What a dick. John Cena says, what is your opinion on Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts? I think that Rare probably came up with the vehicle design mechanic, but that they couldn't figure out a game to put it into, and so they just kind of shoehorned it into Banjo, and for that, I don't think it really worked. To be fair, though, I didn't play very far into the game. I played all there was to play in the downloadable demo, and it just didn't feel quite right, really. Maybe the longer you play it, it feels more like a Banjo game. But personally, I think that the vehicle design mechanic would have worked much better for something like a Blast Corps game, which I would, love if they would make another one of those. There were rumors that that Rare was indeed working on another traditional Banjo game. But I don't know if anything became of that, or... because it doesn't seem like those rumors were that long ago. It was maybe around the time that Rare Replay came out. Sweet. Bucky says, hey, Mr. Walrus, fancy a race? Hop on the sled. If you do, is he gonna let me? He says, great, now all you need to do is steer your sled through the red slalom. Is this how you're supposed to do it? And beat me to the end? I guess so. You do have to go through these slalom gates in order, and you do have to cut them pretty tight to stay ahead of Boggy. Fucker. See, look at that. He already sped up and he's past me. The margin for error is very small. Oh shit, I've lost now. No way I'm catching up after that. Okay, maybe I will. Did I win? That was like a photo finish. You're too quick for me, Mr. Walrus. Here's your medal. I reckon I need to race someone my own size. Now I think you do it again with the shoes to speed you up. And that's the one that's even harder. And it may even be without the sled. Apparently Julio Meza got his N64 for, what was that, $95. Lucas Water says, is this the end of this game? No, I've still got several levels to go. I think I'm over halfway, at least. Maybe 3/5 of the way. Jay confirms, I think about the Donkey Kong theme. He says, I actually forgot where that came from, but I did know it was from something. SJ Rathman 812 says, so yeah, here's one of the rare revealed videos, and SJ Rathman 812 says, whoops, not coming in for me. Yeah, if you tried to paste a link, it probably kept you from doing that. That's one of the things that YouTube chat has disabled by default. I think only mods can paste links. If I could enable that without making you a mod, so that, you know, everybody could paste links, then I probably would. Unless people started, you know, pasting links to porn and viruses, and I turn it right back off. Well, I'd look at the porn first, and then I turn it off. Vorg Miraculin says the orange Jinjo, the last one, is in Waz's cave. Okay. In front of the ice key. And Jay says Doom in the browser. Yep, and then he linked to it. How many Jiggies left? Says John Cena. I'm not sure how many Jiggies are in the game. Is there like... I think there's 90. Is there 90? Or is it like 100 or something? Am I thinking Banjo-Tooie has 90 in it? Fanlife says, I just started playing Banjo-Tooie for the first time, and so far, the first 3 worlds don't seem as lovable as the first game, in my opinion. John Cena says, what are your opinions on Conker's Bad Fur Day? Excellent friggin' game. I've always called it the crowning technical achievement of the N64. It has the best production values of any N64 game, and it's friggin' hilarious, and it's obscene and offensive, and I love every bit of it. And I should definitely play that on my channel at some point. Hulu Mesa says, I hate how you can't move Boggy or shove him during the race, but the bastard pushes you like crazy. I know. Like I got stuck behind him and I was just trying to get around him and I couldn't. And Kilgus says, either bring me back my missing cogs, or fuck off. Vorg Miraculin says there's also a honeycomb piece in Waz's cave. So yeah, I got a lot to do in there. Lucas Water says, will you do a Super Mario 64 playthrough soon? Well, that's twice in one stream that people have asked me to do that, so maybe when I finish one of the games in my queue, maybe I'll do Mario 64 next. John, Man45 says, Jeremy, repeat after me. I think that's a good time to end the stream, so have a good day and keep on gaming. I repeated it, but it's not going to happen. I don't feel like I'm done yet. Even though the clock is kind of saying that, but no. Lucas Water says he loves Conquer. He has it for the Xbox One. Did they port it to the Xbox One? Or do you mean the first Xbox? Because there is Live and Reloaded, which is like an enhanced port for the Xbox. And it's actually more censored than the original N64 version, if you can believe that. FanLife says, goodbye, good luck with the rest of the game. Thank you, FanLife, for tuning in. John Cena says, why did the chicken cross the road? Because he lost his nuggets. And then he says that joke was crap. Yeah. Well, it's a better answer than to get to the other side. Lucas Water says, please start Mario 64 like this week, please. If I finish something this week, then I can start it this week, yeah. I am pretty close to being done with Blast Core. At least as much as I'm going to do with Blast Core. I'm not going to try and get all the platinum medals because I want to keep my hair. But I will try to get some of them. Oh, duh, that's right. Lucas Water says, Conker's... Is it Bad Fur Day or Live and Reloaded that's on Rare Replay? And now I'm finally all caught up with the chat, I think. So now I can go do stuff. Boggy's not talking, so I think he's waiting for me to come back as Banjo. So I can put on the shoes. Oh, hey, Waza. Oh, another walrus. Take this. But watch out for a smelly brown bear and his ugly bird partner. You fucknut. Why, hello again, Mr. Walrus. Feel free to have a look around. Where's this cave? And I'm too fat to jump up there, so I'll have to come back in here as Banjo. And yes, that fire does burn you if you jump in it. In fact, I will demonstrate. And walk, walk, walk. Ah, yep, there's the thingy. Yummy. Oh, there's a fudge fucker. Also known as an ice cube. One up. I can't even defend myself as this walrus. I think I could at least land on him or something. Or he's got those big tusks. I mean, those seem kind of dangerous. That's okay, though. Because as the walrus, I can just jump into the water and fuck off. SJ Rathman 812 says, hey, how about this joke? It's an original of mine. Meanwhile, I'm drowning. But no, he says, what do you call a night owl with a sense of humor? Me! And he says, you know, a night owl person. Says, well, the answer to my joke is a hoot. You're fired, SJ Rathburn 812. I'm going to give you a box, pack up your shit, and get it out of here. There's other stuff happening in yon chat. John Cena says, have you 100% Crash Bandicoot 2? I don't even own Crash Bandicoot 2, even though I would like to. I have the first game, and I played a little bit of it on my channel. At the time, I had never played it before, so that's why it was a Jeremy Tries instead of a Jeremy Plays. Got kind of far into it, and certainly enjoyed it. Don't enjoy the save system in it, though. But it is a game that I would like to come back to at some point. Naughty Dog is kind of the Rare of Sony, if you know what I mean. In that Naughty Dog is to Sony as Rare was to Nintendo, not necessarily Rare is to Microsoft. Because I think with all the people that they lost over the past few years or so, I don't think it's quite the same Rare. So, I mean, the Rare that I know and love is the one that made this game, and the one that made N64 games and one GameCube game before they got bought out. Which that reminds me that one of the things I read back at the time when the buyout happened was that there were some people at Rare that were actually kind of pissed about it. Like, one of them said, you know, it's frustrating. You learn all the ins and outs of a particular machine, and then your company gets sold to somebody else, so you have to learn all this stuff all over again. And I can certainly sympathize with that. Because they put a hell of a lot of effort into making Star Fox Adventures look good. And then they mostly had to throw away a lot of what they learned so they could make stuff on the Xbox. Now, they certainly did eventually do some pretty impressive stuff on the Xbox and the Xbox 360. Like Conquer Live and Reloaded alone was... Well, I once heard it said that Conquer Live and Reloaded made Star Fox Adventures look like an NES game. And I might agree with that. Because man, with that game, did it look good. Many45 says, dude, spell your name. J-E-R-E-M-Y. That's it, that's my whole name. And Jay says, that's not a walrus, that's Jamie Heineman. John Cena says, the Ice Key used to troll me so much when I first played this game. I know, you and basically every other person that played this game, up until, you know, the Sandcastle codes were discovered. Which is, of course, how I got that stuff. You know, I put in the codes and unlocked the doors and went and got the stuff. And now it's still gotten. Okay, so I need to go back into Waz's cave and get more stuff. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Okay, good. At least there was something to land on down there. Trying to remember where the hell Waz's cave is. It's over here. Ah, yes, Goldberg Brashling reminded me about the green present, which I did indeed get. I need to return those presents, actually. That's something else I need to do. Outman45 says, well, I have to go, so peace out, boys. Thank you, Outman45, for tuning in. And we're also joined by a new person in the chat. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, hi. Welcome, Banjo-Kazooie Girl. Just playing some banjo here. You're welcome to watch if you want. If and you won't. Eek, the bear again. Take that noisy orange thing with you. And leave poor Wurzer alone. Yummy. And you see the ice key door right there is actually open. Normally, the closest you could get is that little bit of transparent wall right there to the right. Would normally be covering this entire opening. And that's as close as you could get, but you could see the ice key sitting in there, rotating on top of that platform. And officially, there's no way to get it. Because the game doesn't actually tell you within the game the codes to unlock this door or any of the other stop and swap item eggs, so to speak. And Shazao Hamden has joined us again. Welcome. Apparently Shazao and Banjo-Kazooie Girl know each other. Shazao says, hi, didn't expect you here too. And Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, yeah, this was in my recommendations like the other one. So YouTube's actually recommending me to people. Clearly something is broken with the algorithm. I don't think there's anything else for me to do in here as Banjo. I should still need at least 2 Jiggies, indeed. One's from the presents, and one is from the second race. So I reckon that I'll do those and swear a buttload, and that'll be it for this level. Julio Meza says, how did people find out about the codes back in the day? It was actually done through GameShark hacking. It was done by 2 people by the aliases of Ice Mario and Subdrag. And they were looking through the ROM using a GameShark, just, looking through all the bytes on the screen and everything. And they found the actual, the codes, which are actually quite long. They're like long strings of text. But they still rhyme. They're like sentences, actually, because they're so long. They found them in the ROM, and alongside some of the codes like them that the game does give to you. And so they went and put them into the sandcastle, just like the other codes, and they worked. And so what they did then is they reported those codes to Nintendo Power. And I guess Nintendo didn't even know about them, because Nintendo Power then printed them, and that's how I got the codes, because I was subscribed to Nintendo Power at the time. And then eventually, they were posted on the internet, and Ice Mario and Subdrag founded the Rare Witch Project, where they further looked into the oddities of Banjo-Kazooie. One of the things that happens when you get those special items is that it adds a new menu to the pause menu in the game, where you go all the way to the right, and it adds this menu. It says Stop and Swap. And the items that you can unlock through the codes show up on this screen. And so I, like many people, was like, what the hell is this? So started Googling it and ended up on the Rare Witch Project, ended up on the forums trying to figure out what was going on with it, and that's how I met Jay in the chat. And that was over 15 years ago, I think. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, hey, I'm liking the stream so far. Excellent. Gordon Miraculane says, oh, and the layer switch jiggy too. That's right. I need to get that too. Man, you're on top of this. You're remembering all this stuff for me. Jay, impersonating YouTube, says, we see you've watched a fart video. Here's a stream you might like. That could be how people are finding me. And Keeligos says that my name is spelled Jeremy. That's it. Where's that ban button? And we've been joined by the Legend Gamer again. Welcome, the Legend Gamer. We're rapidly approaching some kind of simultaneous stream viewer record. I hardly ever get to double digits, but so this is pretty awesome. And we've also been joined by yet another new person. Excellent. Lucio Emmanuel says, I'm new here. I used cheat to show this stop and swap screen. I used the sandcastle codes, which you can actually put in without a Game Shark, to get the items, and then the items appear on the stop and swap screen. So just by virtue of getting the stop and swap items unlocks the screen that they go onto. You don't actually have to use a code to unlock the screen, it just shows up. Gevorg Miraculously says, hey, I don't know if you want to do this after the lair switch, but do you want to go and quickly get the honeycomb from Momo's Mountain? I might save the stuff outside of this level for the beginning of the next stream. I think that could be a good place to do it. Okay, so Boggy is now over here next to Waz's Cave. Because that's where the last race with him ended. Yeah, apparently Lucio and Banjo-Kazooie Girl both know each other as well. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, hello again, Lucio. So it looks like lots of people are seeing the recommendations. They're coming over from other Banjo streams. Wait a minute. I guess Boggy has relocated himself to the original beginning. Which Gevorg Miraculously has confirmed. Says, no, he's in the same spot as last time, same exact spot as where you started with the walrus. So I will go there. This is probably going to involve a fuck ton of swearing. Fancy a race against Boggy? Not until I get the shoes. Press A to accept or B to chicken out. And then chicken out because I want to get... Where are those damn shoes? I thought they were just sitting around up here. You don't have to unlock it, do you? Let's stop. Don't do that. Get out of that damn water. Looking for some shoes. I'm almost dead, too. But even if I do die, I've gotten all the notes on this level, so I won't really lose anything. Oh, okay. Apparently you have to start the race and then the shoes automatically appear. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says that all these similar people we just met in another stream a few minutes ago, but that one crashed. Don't say that. My stream has a tendency to fuck up on its own. Lucio Emmanuel says he said my name in a strange mode, Luxio, because it's a Brazilian name. So am I not pronouncing it right? Is it actually pronounced Luxio? And Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, have you done the walrus race first? Yes, I did. Let's see. Hey, and we've been rejoined by Tony DeVec. Welcome. Says, hey, finally made it. Ah, and Banjo-Kazooie girl says, I'll knock on hard wood to not jinx it. Then you better knock on my crotch, but I'm ching. Okay. Pop into place. You're right, there they are. Okay. Run through the red slalom gates and try to beat me to the end. Just like the first time, except it goes a lot faster now. And so does Boggy. See, look at him. He's like got the fucking turbo jets on his ass. He's already bitching at me to go faster. Shit. God. And I got too far behind already. Fuck nut. Jay says, anyone who likes Banjo-Kazooie is welcome here. Indeed, in fact, anyone's welcome here. So when you're going up a slope with these shoes, the controls get a little bit squirrely. And it's just something I'm going to have to adapt to. Damn it. See, I'm trying to cut the corners on these slalom gates as closely as possible to save time. But what ends up happening instead is I end up missing them. What the? God damn it. I lost it in the same fucking place. I can't... the camera angle coming around that corner keeps messing with me. Yeah, Tony Dveck says, yeah, BK fans unite. I feel the power. Shazal Hamden says, well, hey! Sometimes Jay and I actually say that to each other when we're just talking casually, because we both know what it comes from. I'm not rage quitting this. I'm doing this till I get it. Oh, some of these slalom gates I think I'm technically missing if the game is being generous. Did I miss one? Damn it! Ah! Tits. Jay says, well, maybe people aren't welcome here who like Oracle of Ages. Yeah, I don't know, man. Oracle of Ages was definitely my least favorite of those two games. It wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't good for a Zelda game, I don't think. Oracle of Seasons, I think, was a much, much better game. I think it's clear that, since, you know, those two games go hand in hand, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, I think they were made simultaneously by two different teams, because they have very different feels to them. Fuck! Bleh. You better not kill me from sliding me into that water, okay. Banjo-Kazooie girl says, you can do it, thank you for the encouragement. I can indeed do it. In fact, I know I can because I've done it at least once before. Actually, twice before. Because the first file on this cartridge, I completed 100%. I'm actually playing the second file right now, which I've been playing completely on my channel. And then I also have previously completed the game 100% on Xbox Live Arcade on the Xbox 360. So I've done this at least twice, so I know I can do it again. Oh, fucker. You tit biscuit. You butt bag. He's still too far ahead. Shit. Ah, piss. Ah, it's so tight. And not tight in a good way. I like, though, that you don't have to walk all the way back over there to start the race again. Jay says, I was trying to think what your least favorite game was, but that's all I know. My least favorite game I have probably played on my channel at some point. But out of games that I actually like, which one I like the least out of all of those, I'm not sure. There's certainly one that's worse than Oracle of Ages. I don't think Oracle of Ages is that bad because, like I said, it's not a bad game, and it's not even a bad Zelda game. It's just not that great of a Zelda game, in my humble opinion. Damn it! Okay, Dip. I missed it, might as well just give up. Georg Marashlian says, when you come down the ramp you can jump. It might take you ahead of him. Maybe. In fact, maybe I should try jumping more often. I might be able to get up slopes faster by jumping up them, too. And that's exactly what Banjo-Kazooie Girl just said. It says, something I used to do on this was jump up the slopes constantly for more speed. And also my stream's fucking up right now, sorry. Dropping them frames. And Tony DeVec says, I tried so hard and got so far. She's him that says, I think this race was inspired by the penguin race on Mario 64. It could be. That was fucking annoying, too. And Jay says, I know your least favorite enemy type is a crab, which I'm tempted to put in a game. Oh, god damn it. Oh, those crabs. This game has fucking crabs, too. John Cena says, I'm back. How are we all doing? Frustrated, but still trying. And Glorg Marashlian says, I like there have been times when I have missed the flags and I would still win him. That's interesting, even though he was really ahead of me. That's weird. Because the last couple of flags, if you were in front of him, Boggy will push you up to the finish line. I did notice that. When I was going around the corner near where the Christmas tree is, I was like dead in front of him. And he was actually pushing me. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, the second time you raced Koopa the Quick in Mario 64 was difficult too. I think that was in Tiny Huge Island, is where that was. And either I haven't done that in a really long time, or it wasn't that hard for me, or I've just forgotten. I've probably just forgotten. But that does remind me of, in Banjo-Tooie, a lot of people had trouble defeating, what was her name? Canary Mary in Cloud Cuckoo Land. And I guess I just get lucky every time I do it, because I've never had a problem defeating her. I do think that defeating her is probably a lot about the rhythm of how you're pushing the buttons. Because, you know, if you get too far ahead of her, which means you're pushing the buttons too fast, fuck, 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 fuck. If you get too far ahead of her, then She supposedly turns on her turbojets and just blows past you completely and you lose. Whereas if you get too far behind, then she ends the race. And I guess I always hit that magical rhythm combination where I stayed, just the right distance ahead to win. If he didn't get this fucking head start, that would be really helpful. But he does, so I just need to learn to live with it. Get stuck with him and can't get around his fat ass. God damn it. Jay says, Canary Mary that whore. And Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, Canary Mary is boggy times 100. Julio Mesa says, or the race with Tiny Kong and that turtle in DK64 and Angry Aztec. Yes, I hate that. Or the one with Lanky Kong against that same turtle bug thing, but in Crystal Caverns. I think it was towards the end of the game. That is it was either that or one of the Beaver Bother mini games that required the most attempts from me to do it, and probably the most frustration experienced in any game I've ever played. In fact, that could be why I haven't gone back to DK64 in any seriousness since I completed it 100% back when it came out. I've picked it up several times since then, and I always seem to lose interest right about the time that I get into the 4th level. Forget what it's called, but it's the one that's mostly water. Tony DeVec says rubber band AI. I think I know what you mean here. That like, if I get too far ahead, then it automatically pushes him up further. Like further than he would be. Like snapping a rubber band. But before I do him, I need to get some more honeycombs. Somehow. Which is, could be a challenge because I think I've gotten everything in this whole friggin' level. There's some termites still in this Christmas tree that I haven't killed. Damn it. And that's death. Thanks, game, for not landing where I tell you to land. That's no big deal, though. Boggy should be right in the same place, and even though the notes are back, I don't have to collect them again, because I already got 100. Gevorg Marashling says, come on, man, you can do it. Oh, the fucking Sir Slashes are back. Are they going to bug me during this race? Jay says, fun fact, Angry Aztec and Mayhem Temple are the same song and originally composed for Banjo-Kazooie. Interesting. There's actually several shared tracks between Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64. Like, especially the stuff that Grant Kirkhope originally composed when this game was still called Dream and had a dramatically different plot. I'm just going to see what happens if I... Okay, now I know. You get too far ahead without going through the gates and he still gets pissed. But a lot of the stuff that Grant Kirkhope composed for Dream, which he posted online, I think on his Bandcamp site, maybe his personal site. I downloaded them all somewhere. But a lot of the melodies and stuff that were not used in Dream still ended up getting used in various places in Donkey Kong 64. How did I miss that? Did I not go right through it? Shazao Hamden says Fungus Forest, or Fungi Forest, is what it was called in DK64, was also a Banjo-Kazooie level originally. Indeed it was. It was then, it was called Fungus Forest when it was in Banjo-Kazooie. And I remember, in fact, I just heard this song today, I think, because I have most of my music that I listen to, which is a lot of video game music. I have that on my phone, and I listen to that while I'm at work. And I just heard today the Fungus Forest gameplay sound track kind of thing that Jay once composed, son of a tit, once composed as an April Fool's joke. Like the April Fool's joke was that they had recovered Fungus Forest in Banjo-Kazooie, and that Jay had somehow gotten a hold of just the audio portion of someone playing that level. And so it was this Fungus Forest song that Jay actually composed, but with Banjo-Kazooie sounds put over top of it to make it sound like someone was playing the game. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says one of them, I'm guessing, one of these songs from Dream was used for Mad Monster Mansion. Yes, it was. One of the melodies from that. Says Forest from Donkey Kong 64 was originally supposed to be for Banjo-Kazooie. Mm-hmm. There's an image of Banjo in his house in Fungus Forest, and basically it was going to be a cavern, and Clanker was going to be alive. I do remember seeing those screenshots. At one point, Clanker looked more like a dolphin. He wasn't a machine. He was like all kind of like blue, mostly, all over. Julio Mesa says, I think there is a painting of Banjo in the game select that is meant to be taken from Fungus Forest. Interesting. Morgan Marathon says the picture was originally the Click Clock Woods picture, and you would unlock Fungus Forest, and Clanker was a live shark. But they canceled it and instead made it for DK64. Huh. Come on, game. One thing I haven't been doing is jumping up the slopes like Banjo-Kazooie Girl suggested I do. You can use that to get around Boggy easier. What? Did you see what just happened there? I was in front of Boggy when I went through the thing and it didn't do it. I'm watching on the replay right here. Boggy pushed me right in the middle of that gate, and it didn't go off. Huh. Shazal Hemda says maybe it was the reason why Clanker was made into a machine. It says maybe it was more child-friendly to enter inside a mechanical shark rather than an organic one. I don't know, it's still pretty nasty in there. It could be. I think I see your point. So yeah, could be. It really does not like it when I get too close to the flags. How does something that fucking fat go so fast? Is there like a donut at the end of this race? Missed it. Because he got in front of me and I got stuck on him. Oh, look at this. I'm getting raided. CPG raid. Excellent. I don't know what CPG is, but thanks for sending people my way. That's awesome. They can watch me lose, too. Welcome, everyone from CPG. What does that stand for, anyway? God fucking damn it. See, as soon as you miss one, you're done. It fucking sucks. Ah. Apparently CPG means Chris plays games. Huh. And including Chris plays games says, I am the Chris who plays games. Welcome. Thank you for bringing your peeps with you. Holy shit, this is definitely an all-time stream record. I've never been in the 20s before. This is friggin' cool. Chris Plays Games says, see, Jeremy already knows the jump up hills trick, something my viewers had to teach me. Something my viewers had to teach me, too. Because I didn't know at first about that either. Oh crap. Chris Plays Games says, yeah, thank the Oshie raid that I got for that. I went from 24 to 64. Holy shit, dude. Oshikarosu Akuma says, congratulations on your new record-breaking viewer count. Thank you. And sorry I can't read your name, but they saying you need to swear more when you miss a gate, because I know I would. I swear plenty, believe me. I'm not afraid to let fly. Jay says, now you just need a boogie bomb. Holy fuck, if I got a boogie bomb, I think I'd pass out. Kinda Retarded says, in the 30s now. Hell yes. That's easily double the highest viewer count I've ever had. Now, the only thing I wish is that all you guys would have tuned in when I was earlier in the game and I was actually, you know, doing well and didn't look like I sucked. Missed the gate. Fortunately, it doesn't take long after you fuck it up for the race to restart, so, yeah. Brandy Silvers says, what I'm afraid of when I come to these streams is that I'm going to get bullied because I dealt with too many bullies. But you know what? Fuck the bullies. You know what we do on my streams whenever a troll shows up? We do nothing. Because the one thing a troll wants is attention. If you don't give them any acknowledgement whatsoever, they go away. And it's fun to watch them flounder around and, you know, try and get to you and try and push your buttons. And sometimes, whenever you don't react at all to them trying to push your buttons, they actually get pissed off. So, in effect, I'm trolling the troll by doing nothing. So it's like, how could it get better, you know? Shit! I just totally missed that one. Because I was looking for that slope right there so I would remember to jump up it to stay ahead. What's their name person says, if you haven't done the Twinklies Jiggy yet, I like its music. I've actually done this entire level now. This is the last thing I need to get in this level, and then I can be done. And Serge says, going back to the world of N64 NPCs, making fun of you just makes you want to show them up so much more. I know. Beat the fucking computer. Kirsten Inn says, I'm kind of a joker guy. I like to joke a lot. Me too. I like to tell very, very tasteless jokes. And here's one that Jay's heard before. The question is, what's red and sits in the corner? Gevorg Marashlian says, Boggy's just waiting to get rid of his Jiggy. You can do it, man. Thank you, Gevorg. Brandy Silver says, I like this polar bear. He's so cute. Everything in this game is so cute. It's actually everything is really well modeled and textured and especially animated in this game. And that's why I think a lot of people might have been turned off to this game. Is they saw how it looked. They took it like a casual glance at how it looked. And they're like, well, this is a kid's game. And I'm going to feel, I don't know, emasculated playing it or something like that. And so they didn't give it a chance. And what the people that gave it a chance, like me, found out is that there's a hell of a lot of solid game in this game. I keep fucking up that bridge landing right there. What I've been trying to do is get on the middle of that house right there and then just jump off like that, and then I'll be lined up with the bridge, but I still keep fucking it up. And Shazao Hamden says, if you think Boggy is cute, you need to see his children. I know, because their eyes are like gigantic compared to the rest of their bodies. Brandy Silvers also says, this level made me want to rage quit as a kid. Me too. I know how you felt. And John Seam says, I just came back and you're still doing this. You deserve a medal for putting up with this crap. I'll see, my job has conditioned me to have an unrealistic sense of persistence. In fact, the way that I usually describe it to people is that being a software developer means that you continue to try long after any sane person would have given up. Holy shit, that really does work. Not that I was doubting it before, but that's the first time I actually remembered to do it. It made a hell of a difference. See, try and come off in the middle, and I still wasn't lined up with the bridge. Shit. Keeliga says, oh Jesus, you're starting off with that joke? Kirsten In says, screw yourself. I think talking to Keeligast. He's just kidding. Keeligast and I know each other in real life, and we like to be, dicks to each other. Because we think it's funny. Oh, I never actually said the punchline of the joke. What's red and sits in the corner? The answer is a dead baby. Then the follow-up to that joke is, what's green and sits in the corner? And the answer is, same baby a week later. Missed it. Trying to get around Boggy. Shazao Hamden says, it's always the damn water, man. I know. It's lining up with that bridge that's so difficult. Serge says, I thought the same thing about Banjo-Kazooie when I started playing Wizard 101. It's so childish, but it gets so extreme as you go on, and it quickly becomes very challenging. That's very much in line with this game, yeah? Jay says, I can't say this about many N64 games, but these games still look fantastic. Indeed they do. And that probably has something to do with the video converter that I'm using to play this, and the fact that it costed me $600. It is a DVD-O Edge, which has a very good reputation in the gaming community, which I did a lot of reading about before I decided on buying it. The main thing I was having problems with was I have some PAL computers that my existing video conversion setup was having problems with. Oh, is this it? Is this it? Yeah! Fuck you! I've lost again. Take my other medal. Damn right. Hand it over, fucknut. Give me that gold shit. That's my jiggy. Vladimir IG says, so, you were insane. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but yes, you're right. John Cena says, on your other playthrough, did you find Grunty's quiz good or tedious? Somewhere in the middle. For me, it was just kind of a thing that happened. It was, the first time I played through, I didn't know about it, so I wasn't expecting it. So I thought it was an interesting way of changing up the gameplay at the very end of the game. And I thought it was funny that it turned out that all of, or at least some of Brentilda's little hints along the way that you don't know are hints the first time actually turned out to be helpful in that. Holy crap, got lots and lots of people talking. Sorry I'm not giving personalized greetings to all these new faces just because there's so many of you. Brandy Silvers says, I'm not looking forward to turning 30 next week. I just got used to being 29. You know, I'm not sure if I felt the same way or not. But really, you won't feel any different when you go from 29 to 30. I mean, I'm about to go from 34 to 35, and I don't feel any different either. It's like someone was talking online. They were describing how their dad described it was like to get older. It's like you're still looking out of the same eyes, but the body around them is getting older. So you still have the same perspective, you still feel the same inside, so you don't feel like you're aging really, it's just the outside of you that's aging, and it's a really weird thing. Kirsten In said I need something to make a "that's what she said" joke. If I do say something like that, I'll probably beat you to it. Gordon Wrestling says, don't forget the layer switch jiggy. I think I am going to save that until the beginning of the next stream. I'm going to go around and collect those things on the outside of the levels that I've been missing, and go back and get the honeycomb that's in Mumbo's Mountain that I still don't have. Hamden says, insert Mr. Bison saying yes, yes. I don't know who that is. You mean M. Bison from Street Fighter games? Tony DeVec said, if there is anything I learned from this stream, it's never to give up. That's a painful lesson, but it is true. And that comes in especially handy in my job, too. Because a lot of the time I don't have the option to give up. I don't have the option to go to my boss and say, hey, I can't figure out how to do this, or I can't do this. If someone's paying for something to be done, I got to figure out how to do it. And sometimes that means going completely back to the drawing board 2, 3, 4 times before I finally get something to work, but I always get it. So yeah, if you try long enough and hard enough, you will succeed. And that goes for just about anything. Actually, it does go for anything. Except life, because you'll die eventually. Kirsten In says, Jeremy, do you like playing old games? I really like playing old games. In fact, that's just about all I play on my channel. The newest game that I've played on my channel is actually Bit Trip Runner for the Wii. I play some new games, not very many. The truth of the matter is I just usually don't have time to get into new games because they're so lengthy and deep and involved. Whereas back in these days, for these kind of games and earlier, I was a much less busy person because I was a kid. I had nothing to do. And so I played these games and beat these games, got good at them, and learned a lot about them. And so I can go back and play them now and replay them knowing how much time investment it's going to be. And plus, you know, I'm replaying a game I played before. I know I can do it. But I've played on my channel games as old as games for the Fairchild Channel F. I literally live streamed the Fairchild Channel F and all the games I had for it. And everything all the way up until the Wii and everything in between, computers, consoles, everything's fair game for me. Almost literally, everything's a Fair game. Lucas Waters says, Jeremy needs more subscribers, everyone. Thank you, Lucas, for pimping me. Never been happier to be a whore. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, I'm looking forward to turning 20. What about 21, so you can drink, you know? Which I've never done, by the way. But it's a thing people do, so, you know. Brandy Silver says, I just wanted to turn 21 so I could go into bars and liquor stores. Technically, you can already. You just might get thrown out, that's all. John Cena said, well, if this is the end, then what am I supposed to do now? I have just spent all day watching a Banjo-Kazooie live stream. You could watch more videos on my channel. There's like over 200 something of them up there. Lucas Water says I just turned 25. Giselle Hamden says I'm 20 and I often forget it. It's so weird to not be one something anymore. That's something you'll figure out as you get older too. Your age is something that you'll think less and less of. Like even though I'm getting, you know, physically and literally older, I don't feel like I'm mentally aging all that much, which is why I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old and the mouth of a 13-year-old, I guess. And personally, I kind of hope that never really ends because it's fun to feel that young and energetic and lively and all that shit. DeWorg Miraculously says, alright man, as always, great stream and good job, thank you. He also says, I'm going to head out, but very great stream and can't wait until next time when you do Mad Monster Mansion, my favorite level. So, yeah, I guess that would be the next level, wouldn't it? Mad Monster Mansion. I think that's actually a good point to end the recording, but for the people watching on the live stream, I am going to hang around a little bit afterwards for a thing I call the after show, where I'm just going to interact with the chat, as if I haven't been doing enough of that already. But for the people that are watching on the recording, thank you for watching. And if you want to catch me when I'm live streaming, I typically live stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays about 9 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can be notified either by following me on Twitter, because I send out a tweet just before I start streaming, or you can subscribe to me here on YouTube and hit the little notification bell, and you'll get a notification on your favorite device. So, until the next live stream or video or whatever I happen to do, I'll see you. And for the people watching on the live stream still, we are indeed in the after show now. Like I said, I'm going to hang around for a bit and see what the chat has to say. I'm going to save the game here before I do something stupid and turn off the console without saving. And in my pre-show and after show, I also switch over to music from remixes from OC Remix from video games. So I'll just ease a little crossfade over to that and let that shuffle. Chris Plays Game says, good game, thank you. John Cena says, a final joke, what is Banjo's favorite type of steak? Medium rare. I might have to fire you for that one, dude. I'm just kidding. Kirsten N says, do you rage when you read something? If so, turn the page. Turn the other page. That reminds me of a thing I saw when I was younger. It was like a little beanbag thing that would fit in your hand, and on one side it said, turn me over, and you flip it over, on the other side it said, turn me over. Lucas Water says, come to Canada, 19 to get into the bars and drink. I didn't know that. And Giselle Hamden says, poor Banjo's head's being pecked so much. Yeah, because I let it sit there on the idle animation for so long. Lucas Water says, I really enjoy the after show, thank you. Tony DeBeck says, Banjo's gonna go bald. I think Kazooie might have been hitting brain there. You know, maybe that's why Banjo is so aloof? Because he's had, you know, Kazooie concussing his head forever. I hear ignorance is bliss, though, so maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I can be happier if I just, you know, pound on my head enough. Luke's Water says, hey, that looks like cameo Elements of Power. Something in the game over sequence, I guess. It would make sense, since, you know, same developer and probably some of the same artists between the two games. Artistry's kind of like a fingerprint like that. If you look at enough, like pictures, drawings, paintings, whatever, if you listen to enough music, you'll eventually pick up on a style, even if you've never been explicitly told what that style is, and it is kind of like a fingerprint. Like, there's a lot of remixers on OC Remix, actually, that I like, that, like, for example, Analog is one of them. Not analog, it's analog. It's a Q instead of a G. But their songs tend to have a lot of really cool bass grooves in them. And so if I'm listening to music on my phone at work and it randomly plays a remix of his that I haven't heard before, I can still kind of pick up on whether it's his style of bass groove. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's Analog. And then I look at my phone and say, hey, sure it is. Other cool remixers on OC Remix, though, is Maze Dude and, let's see, Am I Evil? And Pixie Tricks, another good one. Zircon is a really cool one. Zircon and Pixie Tricks typically team up because they're actually married. And The Wingless. It's one that starts with a D. Is it Dragon Avenger? Maybe? Anyway, lots of cool stuff. ocremix.org is where you can get everything you're hearing right now. What are we hearing right now? It is a remix from Seiken Densetsu 3. That's why I didn't recognize it, because I haven't played that game. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, I see you've played Super Metroid on your channel. Indeed, I played the entire game, and for the first time ever, I got 100% on it. I'd never actually done that before, and I've played through Super Metroid dozens of times, probably. I was speedrunning Super Metroid back before I knew that speedrunning was a thing. I was just competing with myself and trying to improve my own time, and so I've played it dozens of times. Never got 100% before, until I played it on my channel. I would always get 99%. There was always somewhere that I was missing a missile expansion. I'm sure it was a missile expansion. And during that particular playthrough, I found it. So I don't remember finding it because I don't remember picking up anything I didn't know about. But I guess I did something differently that time. So, yeah, actually, Banjo-Kazooie Girl says, that's nice, I still haven't 100%ed it. So if you watch that entire series of videos, you'll literally see me pick up everything in the game, so you'll find what you've been missing. I try to do that in all of the Jeremy Plays series that I do on my channel. The Jeremy Plays series is where I play games that I'm familiar with, like Banjo-Kazooie here, and with those I typically do in multiple parts, and I try to 100% them, or at least as close as I can get. I know I won't be getting 100% in Metroid Prime, though, because there's something I forgot to scan, and I think it was the Hive Totem I forgot to scan, and that's a mini-boss, so you can't go back and scan it again. I'd have to start the whole file over. But I'm still going to go ahead and complete that at some point. Whereas my Jeremy Tries series is where I play a game that I've either never played before that stream, or I've played very, very little or don't know that much about. Those ones are typically the ones that I do as like a one-off stream where I don't do in multiple parts. Unless it would make sense to do it in multiple parts, like Alien vs. Predator on the Jaguar. I had never played before, but there's 3 characters to play as. So I played it a bit as one of each of the 3 characters in 3 separate parts. Conrad Tardis says, do you have any plans for the future? I have lots of plans for the future. I have countless games that I could play that I've never played before, a lot of them NES games. I probably have a couple hundred NES games that I haven't actually played yet, and so I'm gradually going through those one at a time. I have lots of Jeremy Plays games in series, or in progress, like Metroid Prime, Super Mario RPG, and what are some other ones? Mario RPG, Doom I need to get back to on the PC. I actually need to redo Doom. I did have a Doom video up where I completed the first episode of the game, but I had to take that video down because it didn't conform to the rules of my channel, which I have set for myself, which is that I only play real copies of games that were legally obtained and paid for, and I only play them on real hardware. And I remembered that the copy of Doom that I played in the video that I put on my channel was actually pirated. So I had to take it down. But at some point soonish I am going to buy a real copy of Doom off of eBay, and then when I do that I'm going to play it again. I also I started playing Quake on my channel, so I'd like to get back to playing that. I'd also like to play many more DOS PC games in general, because there's a lot from that time that I loved playing back in the day and I'd like to play again. In fact, I'm building a computer to play DOS games on, which I call my DOS gaming console, which is the subject of another series that I call Jeremy Builds. And so I'm gradually amassing the parts and putting that together and showing you how I build it, what all my design goals are going into it, what I plan for it to be. Once that is done, that's what I will use to play DOS games on my channel. There's also plenty of videos in my Jeremy Shows series that I would like to do, where I take out a piece of hardware, like a video game console or an old computer or something, and then I show it to you and talk about the history, show you the parts that are inside it, show you the ports that are on it, what plugs into it. Generally the same kind of thing that you would get from like a museum curator. And so I've done a number of those already. I would like to get back and do some more of those. I certainly have plenty of stuff to do. I have the ZX Spectrum Plus 3 that I could do. I have an Amstrad GX 4000. I have a Sony MSX2 computer that I could do. I have an Amiga 1000, a 3DO, the Jaguar, the Saturn, Xbox, Amiga CD32, Macintosh Quadro 700, the Sega Master System, Sega Dreamcast, Commodore CD-TV, Philips CDI, TurboGrafx 16, TurboGrafx CD, Sega Genesis Model 1, Sega CD Model 1, Sega 32X. And those are just the odd-ish consoles and computers that I can see in front of me right now. I've got many more that aren't even set up. But yeah, there's way more videos that I plan to do and would love to do on my channel, and I have so little time to do them, but I'm gradually, slowly but surely cranking them out. Julio Mesa says, I know you said you're a developer, but what is your job, if you don't mind me asking? Believe it or not, I make software for pig farmers. And I know that sounds really strange, but it turns out that some of these pig farms are surprisingly plugged in technologically, they need software to track what they do with their pigs. Move them around the farm, when the pigs have babies, when they wean the babies from the mothers, when they mate them with other pigs. All that has to be tracked, I'm guessing, for USDA purposes, because these are pigs that are going to be sold as food. That's where the bacon comes from. And in fact, one of the pork producers is called Smithfield, and they use the software that I make. I work for a local developer who is a very small development shop. It's actually just 2 people, me and the boss, and yeah, that's one of the software packages that I work on while I'm there. Otherwise, I also work on like custom software development, like some random customer gives us a call and say, hey, we need this weird piece of integration software. Do you do that? And we say, hell yes, we do that. And then my boss gives it to me, and then I work on it for a while, and we send it out, and they use it. So there's that I do. And I don't do any video game programming. I would like to, but my day job is just making business software. So it's not all that interesting, which is why I don't talk about it very much on my channel. But I do things to make it interesting. And I still have learned quite a hell of a lot, actually, doing it. Lots of skills that do transfer easily to game development, which is why, in my spare time, I am working on a video game, building the engine and the levels and everything, just whenever I have the chance. And I haven't shown it on my channel before, because there's currently not enough to show. But once I have something that is playable and I actually can show off, then of course I'm going to show that off on my channel. It's not a terribly flashy looking game. It's not a terribly complex looking game. If you've ever played any of the old DOS adventure games that use the text mode screen for graphics, such as ZZT or Megazeus or the Kingdom of Kroz, those kinds of games, it's that same kind of graphical style. And yeah, that's been fun to make. The difference being is that it runs on modern computers using modern operating systems. So you don't have to load it up in DOSBox or something. It's just it's a Windows app as far as Windows knows. But it looks like one of those old DOS text mode games. But I have been doing software development in various capacities for over 21 years. Professionally, I've been doing it for over 12 years. That's always been my passion. In fact, for the people that are wondering about that, there is a video on my channel, which is from yet another series that I do called Jeremy Blabs, where I just kind of talk to the camera about some particular subject. And that video is called My Game Development Journey, and I'm looking it up right now so I can copy a link to it. So whoever wants to check that video out and get an idea of my history as far as a developer, that's a pretty good place to start. Chris Plays Game says, hang on. Says, alrighty, I gotta get to bed. Take care, Jeremy. Thank you, Chris, for tuning in, and thank you, Hella, for the raid. That was friggin' awesome, dude. Tony Beck says, have you played Paper Mario? It's one of my favorite games on the N64. I indeed have. I didn't appreciate it as much my first time playing through as I did on my second playthrough. The first time I played it was on the actual N64. The second time I played it was on the Virtual Console, on the Wii. And that was the time that I actually beat it. And the first time I played through it, it's one of those games that's deceptively simple. I thought that there wasn't actually much to it, when what the truth actually was that it just has a very natural slow progression to it. There's actually a lot to know to play the game. There's a lot to the gameplay mechanics, but the skill progression in it of learning how to play the game and what you do and, you know, the various things you can do is such a gentle curve that it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot to the game by the time you get to the end of it. But my second playthrough, I did realize, you know, remembering all these things that I'd done and everything, I was like, wow, there's actually a lot to this game. This is actually cooler than I remember. And I already thought it was a good game on my first playthrough, so my opinion just went from like good to better than good. I have also played Paper Mario 2, which I think is a fantastic masterpiece of a game. It is an evolution on Paper Mario in every single respect. And I would love to play that on my channel at some point. I've also played Super Paper Mario, which is, of course, you know, it's a very different feel of a game. I'm not sure if it would even technically be in the same series because the gameplay is so different. But that's also an excellent game. It's, you know, of all things, it's actually closer to Zelda 2 in its gameplay than it is to Paper Mario 2. I hadn't thought of that until just now. But hilarious games across the board. I love the sense of humor in them. And of course the paper presentation is just excellent. They really love to play up the paper presentation of the game. It's not just a graphical look in them, it actually influences the gameplay and the animation and everything. And I love that a lot. Lucas Water says, good night Jeremy, I'm taking off. Good night everyone in the chat. Thank you Lucas for tuning in again. Hope to see you on the next stream. Chris Plays Games also says, you can also purchase a copy of Doom from Good Old Games, depending on how you feel about that. Yeah, I could. I know I could also get the BFG edition on Steam, which has Doom, Doom 2, and Doom 3 in it, which is a damn good deal. What I like to get, if at all possible though, is if I can still find a physical copy of a game somewhere, then that's what I prefer to go to. And so there are still plenty of physical copies of Doom left on eBay, so I'm going to get one of those at some point, and that's what I'm going to buy and install and actually play on my channel. Not that I dislike digital distribution at all. Like if there is a game that I literally can't get any other way, like I go looking for a physical copy and there just isn't one, but I can still buy a digital copy on some kind of service, then that's exactly what I'll do. The places where it gets kind of iffy is whenever a game is classified as abandonware. I don't play abandonware on my channel because it's never really clear if anybody quite still owns the rights to it at that point. And I want to stick to my rule. I want to be consistent on my channel and only play real legal stuff. If a game was once registered but was later officially released as freeware, as is the case with ZZT, then I will play it on my channel. And if a game is distributed digitally originally as freeware, then I'll play that on my channel too. That's been the case for all of the MSX games that I've played on my channel, have all been freeware releases. Banjo-Kazooie Girl says I'm going to head off too. Good night. Thank you, Banjo-Kazooie Girl, for tuning in. Even though you're long, long gone, I'll still say it. Chris Plays Games also says that it doesn't sound that strange that I make pig farming software. He says pig farming is a big business and it's a complex logistical problem. It is a big business. And Smithfield, they're the #2 pork producer in the entire world. So the main software that I've written on that project is the software that runs on the PDAs that they carry around to the pigs that they're actually logging their data into. That entire application that runs on that handheld device is 100% me. I wrote all of it. And the idea that it is running and in the hands of every guy walking around at a Smithfield farm, it's mind-blowing to the extent that I can't even process it. Like, odds are, if you see a package of Smithfield bacon sitting on the shelf at your local grocery store, my software helped make it. And that blows my mind. Shazal Hamden says it sounds like a dream job. It is a good job for me, I'll put it that way. Dream job would be for me to get paid to make the games that I want to make in exactly the way that I want to make them without having to answer to anybody. In other words, I want to get paid to do whatever the hell I want. So that would be the dream job, but this business software job is still a pretty good job overall. It does pay the bills and it is reliable, and I don't have to worry about anything. It's comfortable. So I'll probably keep doing that until I retire, or maybe YouTube will turn around and I'll start making money off of that. Who knows? I currently don't make any money off of YouTube, and I am perfectly okay with that. I do this purely because it's fun for me and I like to share with you. Tony DeBeck says, Chris P. Bacon. That's right, he's in Banjo-Kazooie. Conrad Tarda says, I know this is a bit of a taboo topic, but does it supply sufficient pay? Don't have to answer if you don't want to. I'm guessing you're asking about my day job making the pig farming software. Yes, it does. It doesn't pay a lot, but it pays enough for me to live comfortably. Enough that I can afford the crazy amount of equipment that I have amassed to show you what you're seeing right now. A lot of people use a PC to do all this stuff. I don't. It's all hardware. And pretty much every little component of doing a live stream and a recording is some other piece of hardware that I've connected into my chain. And it's absurd at this point. There's two mixers, there's the DVD Edge video converter, there's a camcorder that's acting as a very expensive webcam right now. There is the box that does the picture-in-picture for the camcorder, which puts my face off to the side in the gameplay so you can see it. And there's the box that does the recording that I actually upload to my channel later. There's the box that does the live streaming to YouTube. And those are the major components. And hooking all that together with, various crazy amounts of cables. And it's going to be getting more complex because there's still more that I would like to do to make my streams even better. And they look pretty Spartan in appearance right now. That's actually a way that I would kind of prefer it. I go for a minimalist presentation on my channel because I don't like a lot of glitz and glamour. I would rather give you the steak than the ice cream. Not that the ice cream is bad, but I figure if I can give you, the meat, the bulk of the content, the real core of it, and I can do that well, then that's my primary focus. I also don't do any editing, if at all, on my channel, because I like to show you as much as I possibly can. There are other channels where they'll take like a live stream and then they'll cut it up into only what they consider to be the good bits or the funny bits, and that's fine, that works for them. But I personally don't watch a lot of those videos because it's hard for me to follow the actual game, because it's like it's always jumping around a lot. And so, like this live stream, the portion that was between the pre-show and the after-show here, that's literally what's going to go up on my channel. I won't edit that at all, I'll just upload it. Because I like to show people as much as I possibly can. Chris Plays Games says, sounds like Jeremy and I are probably about the same age and have been doing pro software development for about the same length of time. Interesting. So you're a developer too. That's cool. I hope you're at least working something that caters to your strengths. I am the actual projects that I do are kind of boring, but like I said, I do things to them that can make them interesting. My boss always leaves it up to me to implement things however I want to do it. He doesn't care. He gives me the spec and then leaves me alone and says, get it done. And so with that comes a lot of freedom to write it, implement it, build it, however I want to do it. And I do like that. And so I'm free to explore new technologies, new techniques, to learn new stuff, as long as it contributes to the end product in some way, and it improves it in some way. And so because of that, I've learned a fuckload working at this job. Performance improvements are definitely something that's incredibly challenging, yet incredibly rewarding when I actually pull it off. And that's also where I learn the most, doing software development. So I'm actually kind of intrigued, Chris Plays Games, who says, I said I was going to bed but couldn't pull myself away, so you are still here. So then I have a question for you. What sort of software do you make? Tony Dveck says, I'm heading off to sleep. Hope everyone has a good night and a good rest of the stream. Thank you, Tony, for sticking around. Hope to see you on the next one. Julio Meza says, this show is raw. I like it. Reminds me of old Let's Plays. Indeed. And this is exactly how all of my content is on my channel from the very beginning, and that's the way I plan to do it forever into the future. As little editing as possible. Some of the other channels, like they will also, just to resituate myself here because I'm sliding out of frame. Some of the other channels might also take a game like this and then they chop it up to make themselves look like they're really good at the game and only show you the parts where they pulled off something badass or where they like succeeded at doing something really hard. And that's fine for them if they want to do it that way on their channel. But I don't do that on my channel. As you saw tonight, how I kept failing repeatedly over and over and over at that boggy race, but I still got it in the end. And that's kind of a thematic goal of my channel. I think that by showing you as much as possible makes me more believable and relatable. And I know it's definitely that way for the channels that I watch. Like, one of the channels that I like is Boogie2988, who probably everybody in here has heard of. He's got like 4 million something subscribers. But specifically his Rambling series, because those are the ones where he is more honest and open and does very little editing. It's almost completely uncut for like the entire 10 minutes or something that he's talking. And I really like those because it's like he's not trying to hide anything. He's not trying to make himself look good. And I really think that's a cool way of doing things. That's really inspired the way I do things on my channel. Conrad Tarda says, I like the way you do streams. I like how you talk to the audience and at the end answer questions directly from them. I love interacting with my audience. It's hella fun. Like, the way I figure it, you found me somehow, and you've taken time out of your day to watch me fuck up at a game. So the absolute least I can do is, you know, talk to you and tell you thanks for tuning in. But it's still really cool to see the broad range of people that I get to talk to on here. Like, I've had viewers from as far away as Brazil. I've had viewers as young as like 6 years old. I've had viewers as old as 40 plus years old. And yet, even that broad range of locales and broad range of ages, they all have one thing in common. They like video games. And so that's really fun to find out that, you know, gamers are everywhere. We're all over the place. Mr. Snappy Eagle says, oh shit, I'm late. Sort of. We are technically in the after show right now, and I may actually be going in the next few minutes or so. This has been maybe the longest stream I've ever done. It's been awesome though. Love getting all the new viewers from Chris Plays Games. That was the, I think, third raid I've ever had, and definitely the biggest raid I've ever had. But yet, even still, even if nobody is watching my stream, I still have a lot of fun doing it. That's the way it was for a lot of my first streams. Nobody was watching whatsoever, but I still had fun doing them, and I was still uploading the videos, still kept doing them, kept doing them, kept doing them. Connor Tarta says, if you do get big, do you think you'll keep doing the after show? Absolutely, I will. The pre-show, the main gameplay, and then the after show, they're all part of it. I love doing all three parts. And so I don't see any reason to cut them. It could get challenging if I do get big, because if there's a lot of people watching and there's a lot of people talking at once, which means that the chat could be flying by at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but I would still make the effort to try and follow the conversation and pick out some questions if I can catch them as they're going through, and still talk to the audience. Because even if I wouldn't get to talk to everyone personally, which I would prefer to do, even if it was so crowded that I couldn't do that, I'd still do it as much as I possibly could. Julio Meza says, I'm going to head off now. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Julio, for tuning in. Hope to see you on the next stream. With that, I think I'm going to check out too, because I've got about 10 minutes before bed here. But this has been a stellar stream. By far, one of my most successful and funnest streams I've ever done. Thank you everybody for watching. All of the 8 people that are still sticking around after all this time. Conrad Tarta says, do you have a Discord or other forms of social media that I can follow you on? Indeed, I do have a Twitter that I post on occasionally, and I always send out a tweet just before I start a live stream. My Twitter profile, you can find a link to that on my YouTube profile page. It's actually the same name as my channel, which is, it may not actually be visible to you anywhere, but it's Triskel Gilo, and I'll type that into the chat for you. That is my name on pretty much everything. I don't actively check everything, but I do have accounts on pretty much everything, and so if you see that name around, it's probably me. So that's me on Twitter, and that's me on Reddit, and that is also me on the Discord. I do indeed have a Discord app, and I can also link you guys to that. Like I said, I do have a day job and I am pretty busy in general, so I can't guarantee that I will respond expeditiously to anything you say to me on those, but I will make the best effort that I possibly can. Because I do really adore my fans. It still blows my mind that I have them. And so of course I'm gonna give you as much attention as I possibly can. I need to, let's see. I'm logging into my Discord right now and it's asking me for 2-factor authentication, so that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, the login message was, your Tamagotchi is hungry. Okay, let's see if I remember how to create a link for this. There we go. Invite. So that is the link to my Discord. Feel free to jump in there. Like I said, I'm not often in there chatting in real time, but I do get notifications from Discord, so I'll respond to those when I can. Same thing goes for Twitter messages. And YouTube comments, that stuff too. Conrad Tardis says, yeah, I really like your content, and this is only my first stream. Thank you, Conrad. I sure do have an awful lot of fun making it for you. But yeah, I'm going to call that a stream. I will be back on Wednesday at about 9 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you are subscribed to me or following me, you'll get a notification just before I start doing that. I don't know what I will play on the next stream. It might be more Banjo-Kazooie, might be something else I'm working on, might be something entirely spontaneous. Who knows? But until then, I'll see you.